Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm super excited to share a project with you using the Spellbinders Large Die of the Month Club Kit. This is a monthly Club Kit subscription, and this one is for April 2022. This is called Say Cheese. This is a large camera that has the huge flash actually. And then there's some floral elements, of course, to make it beautiful. And on the back, it kind of tells you how to put it together. There's sentiments in here that say hello, thanks, smile. And for today, I just wanted the camera. I didn't want the big flash on top. So I'm just going to use the camera. I kind of have an idea of what I wanted to do. And I think that if I add the flash, or what do you call that? I know there's a technical term, but I just don't know it. But I'm not going to add that one piece on the very top. The shutter, maybe? But let's jump in and do some die cutting. I wanted a pink camera. The shape of it kind of reminded me of we took a road trip a while back, and it was very cheesy. It was when COVID first started. We had shut down our restaurant, and absolutely everything was closed. But we had an RV, and I thought it would be fun. Our girls are teenagers, and I thought it'd be fun to go around Route 66 and hit all the cheese ball spots. Like there's a huge whale that's just like in the middle of a park off the highway, and we sat and had lunch there. I thought that was so nice. There's the largest totem pole in the middle of nowhere. We drove there and we took some pictures. The pictures the cameras that I gave the girls were those instant cameras, and that's what this reminded me of. They each had an instant camera, and they took pictures along each stop. Along our trip, and so that's what this reminded me of, and so that's why I chose pink, because their cameras were pink. But anyway, I'm rambling once more, but I want to go ahead and die cut the camera front part with the darker cardstock. This is Dahlia, and then I'm going to use the lighter pink, which is pink sand, and we'll die cut out the base of the camera with that. There's a lot of extra little elements. And I'm going to bring in some smaller pieces of cardstock. I kind of picked my colors that I wanted. I have some silver mirror cardstock, and there's some circle pieces. We're going to die cut out this piece to go around the lens. So I guess that wouldn't be the lens. That'd be more like a shutter or something. But let's die cut that out with a darker gray cardstock. That's going to go in here. And then there's another smaller circle. I'm going to die cut this out with a silver mirror. And then you have this little piece that gives it the look of it opening and closing. And then we have green, because of course we have some leaves. I'm going to die cut some leaves out with green. And then I have different colors of blue, lagoon, waterfall. This may be teal topaz, I'm not sure. I'll double check it, and then I'll link it in the description area. And then we have some beeswax. So I'm going to die cut out a flower center with the beeswax. I like this flower here. I'm going to die cut that out with the darker teal. And then this flower I'll do with the lighter teal. The waterfall. And then there's this little piece. This is like the straps of the camera. And how about a lighter gray with that? This piece has the strap pieces and also the camera buttons for the very top. So I'm going to die cut it out with a silver mirror, and then also with the Dahlia. I'm going to take this background die and die cut out a rectangle with the Dahlia, and then I'm also going to die cut out, I might need a bigger piece of silver, the smile, which you have to layer together with the silver mirror cardstock. I think I can get him in there. And then this piece here is the bottom of the camera. I'm going to die cut that out with my darker pink. And then this little piece, I think I'll die cut that out with the darker gray and also with the silver mirror. So I have a lot of die cutting. Maybe I'll die cut this out with the darker gray. Let's skip the lighter gray. Okay. I have a lot of die cutting to do, so I am going to start die cutting. Okay, I went ahead and did all my die cutting. Now, the nice thing about the camera is you have this extra little lip over here that if you fold it over, it will score. And if you want to die cut out 2 of these, you could create a card out of this. I don't need that extra piece on top, so what I'm going to do is just trim it off with my trimmer. And I love the embossed detail that's on these. The camera's a little bit hard to pick up. Maybe this one's a little bit better because it's darker. But, you know what? I'm going to take these 2 dies, and I'm going to take some fun foam, or pop-up fun foam, and I'm going to die cut out some foam adhesive also. Let's see if I can fit them on here. Yep. Because I want a little bit of dimension, so I'm going to run these through my die cutting machine. It embossed my pop-up fun foam too. Okay, now this has that extra lip on there too, so I'm going to trim that off with my scissors. As I put this together, I'll talk a little bit more about our little Route 66 trip. It was super fun. Our children were very embarrassed, but that's just because they were teenagers. But we had a blast. We traveled to, must have been like 10 different destinations off of Route 66, and all of them had to be free because everything, of course, was closed. The attractions and stuff were closed. There was even like a huge, that movie Transformers, there was a huge transformer outside one of the, like an automotive store. There was an oil rush guy. We just saw lots, and it was, I think, something that my kids will remember. I even made them a little memory book to put their little photos in. The photos weren't very big. I would say the photos came out like this. I forget what the name of the camera was, but that's what this reminded me of. But it was a very fun, we had a blast. And then we ended up maybe with 2 or 3 places a day. And our trip was about 4 or 5 days. With running the business, we hadn't taken a vacation in a while, so I thought that would be really fun. And we ended up being at Yogi Bear's National Park, and we parked there and stayed a few days and camped out. That park happened to be open, which was really nice. There wasn't too much open during COVID. My foam kind of stretched a little bit, so I'm just going to trim off the excess. But that was, gosh, it seems like 100 years ago. But it was a fun little trip. So I have foam behind our camera. Okay, now we get to zoom in. And what are you doing, huh? You want to be a movie star? That's my boy. That's my little kitty cat who thinks he's a doggy. Now we're going to build our camera. First, there's this bottom piece, which is this little darker pink one. I'm going to add a thin bead of glue and put that here. And of course, this would be pretty too if you wanted to add the shutter or the big circle that goes on top. I think that would be pretty too. But I needed some extra room since this camera is on the larger side. Wanted some extra room to do something a little extra special with those flowers. Okay, so I put my bottom piece, and then we have our sentiment. I die cut it out with the silver mirror. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to use my tape runner for this because silver mirror cardstock takes a long time to dry. And so sometimes the tape runner works better. And I'll add that to my Dahlia pink cardstock. And so our sentiment's good. I'm going to flip it around and add foam squares behind here. This is going to go. There is embossed detail. It's hard to see on the camera because this is so light. But you just put it where the embossed detail is on your camera. Very easy. Now we're going to add our shutter piece, and I'm going to use glue for this. The bottom's going to be on the bottom of our camera, and then the top will hang over. We'll put our lighter gray right in there. And then I want to put that silver mirror one that we die cut out, and we'll put that right in the center. So it kind of looks a little bit like glass. Let's see if I can show. This will thread through it, through the back. So the thicker end is on the bottom. You can see here. And then I'm going to tuck this in between the fun foam, pink cardstock. And then I'm going to reinforce it with some glue, so I know it's not going to go anywhere. Good deal. And you can go the left or the right. And then I'm going to take my little T-shaped piece, add a little glue at the bottom, and then we will tuck that. I guess I could use my tweezers. I always forget to use my tweezers. We're going to tuck that in there as well. How cute is that? I just think that's so fun. Okay, now we have to build the inside of our camera. And first what we're going to do is take our darker gray. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. And then this is going to go in that circle area. And I did die cut out a piece of foam. We're going to go ahead and add a little glue on the inside here. And then I'm going to add my foam. And then I'm going to add a little glue on the outside edge of my light gray donut. You like my terminology? Okay. And then I'll take the lighter gray, put it around that foam. You can see the dimension we're getting already, but not too much because we have a lot with the foam adhesive. I'm going to put these pieces back. These are some more extra pieces that we could use for another camera. There's also that like moon shape that we die cut out. There's some smaller ones for the shutter area we're not going to use, but I am going to use the largest moon shape, and we're going to put that on our card too. Now we have darker ring, lighter ring, and I'm going to add a little glue to the foam adhesive. And I'll add my silver. And then I'll take my little moon shape. This just gives it an illusion of dimension. And then we can add that to our silver. And our camera is good. And again, if you wanted that big piece on the very top here, that's where it would go up here. Very easy because you would just die cut out a lot of these and then use the circles here for layering. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we have our flowers. My idea was to take a piece of white cardstock. Let me grab. This little magnet comes in really handy. This is from Spellbinders and it's called the Main Attraction. It's nice because you don't lose your dies. Okay, I have my paper trimmer. I'm going to zoom back out. Okay, and I'm taking some cardstock. It's just the regular white cardstock. And I'm going to cut out a panel that will fit a square die. The square die that I'm using is from the Essential Squares. I'm taking the smallest die, and my idea is I'm actually going to trim this down into some little squares. Okay, my idea is to create some little photo frames with this little square. I wanted some picture frames to go with where's my tape? I wanted some little photo frames to go with my camera. So to do it is very easy. Basically what you're doing is creating a rectangle frame. Die cut out a rectangle, or trim out a rectangle, use a square die and cut out a window in it. And then you have an instant photo frame. Okay, so here we go. Kind of cute, huh? This is little. This is about 1.5 inches by 1.25, but very little. I think I probably need to zoom back in a little bit more. But I wanted to put some flowers in here, and so I have my flowers. And I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of adhesive behind here. Tack that down to my background. I think I need to trim that background down a little bit. And then I'm going to add a little glue to the base of the flower. And then we have our yellow flower center. I'll add that. And I wanted this to overhang into the bottom of the photo frame, just for something a little abstract. And we have some leaves for this too, so we'll add some leaves. So those are good. I do have some flower centers left over. We'll set those aside. And then we're going to go ahead and take our card base. I have our card base, and I do want a background, and for my background I'm going to be using the Radiant Burst embossing folder. This is the embossing folder of the month club kit. I liked it because I think it's going to go perfect with the camera. So I'm going to take my cardstock and put it at an angle where I want that camera lens. I think I can get it to fit in here. I think that's going to work out great. So you have the circle of the burst right here kind of off. I'll run this through my die cutting machine. And then I'll take I'm going to add some glue behind here since it's fun foam. We'll add this to our card, kind of at an angle. And then I have our little photo frames. I'm going to scoot this up a little bit. We're going to pop this up with some foam squares. Okay, I think that looks adorable with the little photo frames down there. And then I have the greenery behind that photo frame, kind of filling in that bottom area. And I have a little bit of glue here I'm going to take off. Okay, I think that looks so fun. I am going to add a little bit of sparkle using some gems, Color Essential gems. I'm going to use the silver mix, and we're just going to add a few gems here and there. I think that looks good. And that finishes off my card today using the Spellbinders Large Die of the Month Club Kit for April 2022. This month's kit is called Say Cheese, and I think it's adorable. I hope this gives you an option on how to use the die this month. Thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful day.